Live from New York and the general Texas, Dallas, Texas
Yeah,
area.
area of Dallas, Texas. The
Oh,
area, yeah.
is it's
Talking
I
crit.
talking. It could be talking crit. It almost was a talking belch. My
Uh-oh.
stomach hasn't been 100% today.
Oh no, you're gonna
No,
be
no, no,
verklempt with your stomach.
heartburn, heartburn. I've got heartburny. No, I've got the heartburn. So in any case, um,
Wow.
we got a very. By the way, before we dive into today's thing, I got so many comments in here. Local Gumby, hello, climbing that mountain.
Oh,
Good to see you.
I guess I'll
RPG
shut up
Grandma
early. You guys
five
showed up
three
early
three.
tonight. Look at this.
We'll keep the visuals low so you don't have to get distracted while you're driving and looking at your screen. We wouldn't want that. Bob G, always good to see you, sir. Don, always good. The Pope of the OSR, Greg Christopher, causing shit as usual, but that's
Oh
okay.
look, we need to crowdsource you and Zach on the same stream. Apparently,
What? Hold on a second.
when will Zach be a guest on the tavern? And James Raggy, hello James, would pay money to see Zach and Tenkar on the same. Most people would pay money, but
Yeah, but who are you going to pay the money to? Listen, you have your choice. All right, you could pay it to the honest asshole or just the asshole. All right, I mean,
well, Eric said that he wouldn't cross the street to piss on Zach if he was on fire. So I don't know what he would have. He would have to be really on fire for him to get on the talk show. I mean,
oh God,
I don't know what it would take. Oh
what it would
look,
take.
and there's Jan wanting to win a drawing. Good
There's
lord.
no drawing. You could talk to Tencent about getting your D&D winnings. Okay. Oh God, we got
By the way, this I'm wearing my brand new 2024 season Rangers hat that I bought today. I haven't bought a hat in probably the last hat I got was at a free giveaway at Ranger Stadium probably 20 years ago. And so I haven't bought a hat probably since the 1980s. But I'm celebrating. I'm celebrating the World Championship Texas Rangers by buying a 50% off hat. It's 50% off, Eric, because it does not say World Champions on it. Or it's just a generic hat. So all
generic
the
Texas
all
Ranger
the
hat.
regular hats were, $25-$30, but the generic ones were half price. So and me always looking, always wanting to save a buck here, but still wanting to show my look after the disaster that was the Dallas Cowboys this year. I'm going to go to the true winner in town, and that true winner is the Texas Rangers, world
For
champions.
this
So,
year.
yeah, yeah.
Well, they can
So
go back to playing like they usually go play, but
it doesn't matter though. Every team. So with the Rangers winning, every team in Dallas has won a championship since the last time the Cowboys did. That includes the Dallas Stars, the Dallas Mavericks, and now the Texas Rangers. So I'm going to support our latest winners, Texas Rangers. Go Rangers. Go
go
Rangers. Yeah.
right. So optional rule. Hey, that's a new live stream guest. Welcome,
Yes.
Terry. Again, Jen. No one wins D&D. No one wins.
Oh no, Vaughn says Rangers. That's not a sports ball team. Oh well, so tonight's show is going to be the history of the Texas Rangers, Eric. I'm going to start in
No, it won't be.
1974. Well,
Mike,
actually, I
you
started in
might be.
72 when the team
I
came here. My first game was in 74, so we're going to start
I
in
will
74.
throttle you, sir. I will
And we're
throttle.
going to
I
go through
will.
the late 70s. We're going to hit the 80s were rough, but they had some good teams. The 90s is when they first went to the playoffs. So
I'll
yeah,
hit you with
I'll
my
break this
platoon.
down. You can comment as needed. If you want to
No,
jump in and
no,
comment.
no.
And
It ain't
no,
happening, sir.
okay,
It
all right,
ain't,
all right. We'll save
sir.
that for a special. We'll
Sir.
save that for a
No.
very special episode. Very special episode of Talking Crit will be the
And
history of the
by the
Texas
way, Greg,
Rangers.
when I think Rangers, I think of the New York Rangers, the hockey team. Which when
That
I
gets me
was young,
confused
they were a good
sometimes.
team. Now they are what they are.
Yeah, what happened to the Rangers weren't that bad just not even that long ago, I thought. So
Yeah,
maybe I'm
no.
wrong.
What is a sports ball team? Do they roll dice? They tend to roll balls or play with balls, depending on how you look at it. We won't explain that. Tencent beer night, Joe
Oh, I
George.
can tell. Yeah, the 10-cent beer night. By the way, the Rangers are the reason why they lost 10-cent beer night in the 70s. They
Really?
look up the Cleveland beer riot. There's a
Oh, gee.
Wikipedia page. those Cleveland fans, first of all, Cleveland, come on. And so they had 10-cent beer night, and by about the seventh inning, they were running on the field, taking their clothes off. They were trying to assault players in the field. They were, it was like I said, read the Wikipedia. It's Cleveland beer night. And after that, there was no longer any 10-cent beer nights. So guess what, Cleveland, you ruined it for all of us. Thanks, Cleveland. Appreciate it. You ruined a lot of things. But,
yeah, like well, now it would be $1 beer night, but that would still be good. I mean, that
yeah,
would be,
yeah. Well, Cleveland
nice
ruined it.
morale.
Like, Cleveland ruins about everything, really. I mean, think about it.
Yeah, okay. If you had a party of 46 Rangers, you could really crush a hex crawl.
Ooh, yeah,
Potentially.
especially if they're all giants. They're all.
I'm not gonna. I muted Mike on Discord and then left him muted between weeks.
Yes.
So that sucked.
I watched one of Nolan Ryan's no hitters for Texas on TV. I must say I was not in person, but I did see one. It was amazing. I was with two of my friends and we were kind of doing something else and watch it in the background. Then as it started going along, we started paying more attention. We're like, oh my God, this old man's going to do it again. And that was a great night. That was the kind of picture you're never going to see again, Eric. You're never going to see that kind of picture. How many 3,000 strikeouts? I mean, come on.
You have like Ron Guidry. You're never going to see a Ron Guidry again. I mean, with the arms where they could throw complete games, not just shutouts.
Oh my gosh, Eric, these guys throw like 3 innings and I'm tired.
Can I get my 5 innings in to get a win?
It's time for the relief pitcher. I pitched 5 whole innings tonight. It's horrible. Yeah, you're
it's
never
like
going to see this.
It's a starter. Yeah. Don't worry, we're not going to get into sports ball.
No more sports ball. No more sports.
No more of the sports ball.
Unless you guys ask for it.
Hey, gents, had a great time at the game day this weekend. That's right, there was a North Texas RPG game.
Yeah, I'll talk about that a little bit too. We had a blast. So let me talk about that real quick. We had about 20 people show up. The reason we had this is because Doug and I used to have game days at the warehouse. Since we lost the warehouse, I was all morose and upset. And Gary says, well, let's just go have a game day at the Westin, and so we got a really, the area that's called the library. Do you know what I'm talking about, Eric, when I say the library? It's if you're going down the hall, it leads to the main area. If you go to the right, there's that little area. It's got the raised sections with a few rooms in there. There's like 3 rooms there. It's called the library. So we had the library area. By the way, we shared the hotel with what I think was a Mary Kay convention because there was a lot of women wearing pink there, so I think it was Mary Kay. But man, those ladies can drink. Let me tell you, ow. But yeah, we had that little area there, and so we set up and honestly, Eric, we just sat around and talked a lot, and that was great. And I ran a game. I ran B 2.5 Caves of the Unknown, written by Charlie Phipps, Tom Wilson, and myself, and that's the first time I've run a game for somebody that's not my group since. The last time I ran a game in North Texas was probably 2021. So we had a blast. It was BX all the way, baby. We wrote up characters. Everybody hit the trail and they explored the caves of. This is like adjacent to the Caves of Chaos in B2. It's the Caves of the Unknown, and we had an absolute blast. And there was BattleTech played. Somebody ran Shadow Dark. There was some board games played. It was awesome. And so, Gary and I were there. My brother didn't show up. I don't know what his deal was, but Mike and Liz Stewart were there. Matt Gullett of Longcom was there.
Okay.
Sean Pointer. I'm trying to think who else you might know that was there. Sean Pointer, Michelle was there. Oh gosh, I'm going to forget names. I feel terrible. Oh gosh, David Donahue was there of Etten Games, who also sponsors the midnight auction every year with his 666 check, which we love to get, and he's a great guy. The cool thing about it, Eric, was with only 20 people there, you got a chance to sit down and talk to everybody, which. You know how conventions are, right? There's so many people there. You're just, hey, what's up? Hi, boom, fist bump, and this is that. But we actually got to sit down and talk for hours and hours, and it was so much fun. And so Gary and I decided we're going to have another one in April. We had an absolute blessing. Oh, Ty Beard showed up too. Ty Beard was there. It was just some local people showed up, and we just had Joe George was there, who's on the chat tonight. I mean. It was great. We had a really really good time. We drank quite a bit because
Well,
I mean
North Texas. I
nobody
mean,
had to get up early or anything. We didn't start games till like 9:30. I mean, so Joe brought his magical Eggo waffle sipping cream, which I drank about half the bottle. It was delicious. Um, don't give me that look, Eric. It was actually good. I'm sorry, it was good.
no, I'm just yeah.
Okay, I
I,
thought you were good.
no, it is a look. I'm just kind of like Eggo waffle sipping cream. I'm assuming.
So it's called Eggo waffle. It's called Appalachian sipping cream, and it's supposedly tastes like Eggo waffles and syrup. It was really just tasted like sweet. It was like cream liqueur. Is all what it
Oh,
was.
okay, so it
And I
isn't
drink
really
about it.
Eggo.
Comes in a
It
mason
isn't
jar.
branded Eggo waffles.
Yeah, that's the brand name, but it comes in a mason jar.
Wait,
And I'm
it isn't.
telling you, what wasn't too bad. Well, I drank about half the bottle. I think Joe might have had too much. He drank quite a bit, and we ate a couple local places. I mean, it was fun. We just had a great time playing games, and it was Friday night and all day Saturday, and we are definitely going to have another one because if you're in the DFW area, or even if you're not, you want to come into town for that, we'll let you know beforehand when the next game day is. And so yeah, that was my weekend. It was very fun. I forgot how much I love running games, and I'll tell you something, Eric. When I run games, I'm really bad because I maybe over prepare. I'm really bad about over preparing, and I absolutely did not over prepare. As a matter of fact, I deliberately just picked up a module before I left my house. I picked up the BX rulebook I have, which I don't know, it's not here, and that's all I took, and some dice and some miniatures, and that was it. And I just said, I'm going to just do this, and it worked great. We had a wonderful time. It was really fun. BX is a great con game. Let me tell you, BX is it hits all those sweet spots when you do a con. It's very easy to roll up characters, very easy to play. I mean, it's the rules are weird because it's one of those early rule books doesn't really have an index, so you're kind
Oh
of
yeah.
flipping back and forth. And what page is that on? But it was really fun. So that's all. So yeah, that game day was great, and we'll announce next time we have another one. If you're in the DFW area, you're welcome to show up. And we had a raffle too. We had a raffle, gave away a bunch of stuff, and the we raffled a board game, Witch Mountain board game that you had to take if you
Oh
won it,
yeah.
and
Well,
you had to
you
take
probably
it. Joe,
broke, so you could
yeah,
take it. So yeah,
yeah, Joe won it, and so Joe had to take it away. You could not win it and leave it behind. That was the rule.
you must take it. You must. All right. So Mike, we got a couple of stories we can touch upon.
Oh yeah, we
And we
got
will,
we got some good
here,
stuff.
we now Climbing the Mountain wants to talk about the Tencent D&D Watsy deal going on. All right. We also have the social worker who did an expose on assholes in the industry. And we have the news that the Gary Gygax material.
That is great news.
So we got
Let's cover that first. That's some
all
great
right.
news, and
So
and
climbing. We'll get back to your question. We'll
yes,
get
we will.
back to
But
it.
first of all, we're going to cover the fact that as part of the what would you call this? That they have to pay off the
You have to pay
um,
off the basically the estate. So
yes,
I'm gonna give the real
yeah. Why
quick.
don't you give the
So
Cliff Notes version?
yeah, the too long I didn't read story, the TLDR. Um,
Uh-huh.
the the whole thing with the Gary Gygax estate and the will being in probate. I'm going to take you to the Wayback Time, and the Wayback Time
Oh,
is before COVID.
going way back. Oh, okay, I'm back.
And Tom DeSanto, a producer on one of the Transformers movies, part of the Transformers franchise, wanted to find a way how to license Gary's IP from Gail, who controls the estate, and was talking about getting a streaming series on Netflix or Amazon. There
Right.
was all these news stories about this,
Now, Gail,
and
this is a point. At this point, Gail had famously pulled everything Gary
everything.
had in print, pulled everything. So she controlled everything. Nothing was being printed with Gary's name on it this time.
So there's nothing on the market that now. Tom DeSanto said to himself and to Gail, hey, I need a face man for this. I need somebody who can sell this. And it ain't going to be Gail. Okay? Gail is not going to be the one that's going to sell D&D to Hollywood. All right, to investors. So who's the face man?
My cat says no too. That's a no.
The face man is Luke. Luke
Yeah.
Gygax is the perfect face man for that.
Or military guy, good looking dude, personable, lots of charisma, knows a bunch of Hollywood types. Perfect face man for the Gygax name. By the way, his last name is Gygax too. So.
Right. I mean, perfection. A son of Gygax. So, this is probably not an exact quote, but this is the quote that I was given. Gail's response to Luke being part of this a project was essentially, no fucking way is he going to be part of this. No fucking
and remember,
way.
This is after Gail had shut down Gygax magazine. By even though she says she did, and she did, because she had some deep pockets, and Luke and Ernie were not willing to spend over $50,000 to keep that magazine going, which legal bills were.
My understanding, all right, this is from multiple sources, but none of them on the record. So take that for what it's worth. It hit six figures from the side of Gygax magazine. In the end, she gave them the license, and by the way, Gygax magazine was in the right, because you cannot trademark a proper name. So you cannot trademark Gygax.
But you can money whip people through legal issues, and after a while you have to give up because you can't afford to keep pace with it.
So the deal became, well, you can publish Gygax magazine, but anyone who works on that magazine will have to sign an agreement that they'll never make any disparaging comments about Gil Gygax in public and private, online, in person, this whole fucking thing. And you know what? Many of them just said, F you, take a walk.
Yeah, all our buddies, basically. I mean, of course, Ernie and Luke said that, and well, probably shouldn't name names, but yeah, all of our friends we know that work for the Tim Kask, Jim Wamper, all those guys said, boom.
Yep. So
even though Gail insists that she didn't shut down, I did not shut down Gygax magazine. Yeah, she kind of did.
Yeah, not even kind of. She effectively did.
Yeah. So that they have bad blood. They've got bad blood here.
She gave them a poison contract. Okay, it's like, hey, you can take the contract, but it's going to kill you. But there was a lot of bad blood going between the sides. So what happened is that Tom DeSanto apparently started hearing rumors that Gail did not actually have guaranteed.
But by the way, Garrick, you skipped a part here.
What?
So DeSanto, once Gail refused to have anybody with the actual name of Gygax work on this, he bailed from this. He didn't want anything to do with this.
He didn't. It wasn't a complete bail. He's the one that found out that there was a will.
Oh yeah, okay. I skipped that. Yeah,
right.
You were going to get to that.
I was going to get to that. There was a will. Now, initially, I had heard my sources that told me that this was a second will, a later will. But what I found out later is that Gail was not operating on any will. The assumption was the estate was worth less than $50,000. None of the offspring, none of the kids felt it was worth the fight, and they just left it in Gail's possession. But then what happened is this would have been a moneymaker, and then Gail had Paul Stormberg start cataloging the entire collection and selling it at auction, and then the first part of the collection was worth over $50,000.
One of the first thing they sold was a complete set of Bill Meinhardt's going to kill me for that. It is a fanzine that came out of Lake Geneva area. There was probably only 12 issues of each one. I cannot remember the name. It wasn't a strategic preview. It's something like that, and it's considered an incredible look into the beginning of the hobby because it came out in the late '60s, early '70s. Guys like Rob Kuntz got it, Gary, all these people, and there's only like a dozen copies of every issue. If I remember correctly, Eric, that auction alone made almost $50,000.
Wow.
Those issues were bringing in anywhere from $6,000 to $15,000 a piece because they are that rare. So that's when people were like, "Oh, wait a second! I think this estate might be worth a lot more than $50,000."
And then the will came. The will that was not filed was then brought to probate, and then we had this case. Now, I have been following this case. It's a case in Wisconsin in the local court, and essentially what has happened is that there was a trustee put in charge of the estate. The trustee is the one that agreed to give a license to Troll Lord Games for Castle Zagig reprint. And that was an interesting one because that was a test case. If it was profitable, well, then it's a win-win for everybody. And it was extremely profitable. So now they've licensed even more of Gary's stuff. They've licensed all the Castle Zagig stuff that was partially written. They're bringing Mike Stewart. Mike Stewart is going to be the steward of Castle Zagig, and he will bring that to completion. He'll be the head of that development team, which is awesome. So, and there's other work.
The best part about this is because at a certain point, when Gail basically took all this stuff and buried it, absolutely just 86 buried it. Nobody thought this stuff would ever be available again. I mean, the original Castle Zagig box sets, which they had to divest of by the end of a certain calendar year, otherwise they had to destroy the rest of them. Those go for anywhere from $500 to $600 to $700 a piece now because they're you just can't get them, and they were pretty much thought these would never be reprinted. These were never going to be reprinted. So if you have a copy. Oh, I can't believe I want to do this. I think I've got a copy of here.
He's doing a Rob. He's doing a Rob Conley.
Look what I got here. Check it out. Yes.
Check it out.
So this is a copy. This is I think this is my personal copy. It's not signed by Jeff on the cover. Anyway, beautiful box set. The box is a little flimsy, but it comes with all the books that have talk about castle, like the outskirts of Castle Zagig itself. Now, it very famously only does the first level, the basement and the first level, because if this project had continued, if Gary had lived, this is going to cover every level of Castle Zagig, and he and Jeff Trelanian were going to write it all. Unfortunately, Gary passed when they only came up with this one box set, which only covers the environs, the basement, the first level. Oh, and of course the surface itself. There's a bunch of people. There's a bunch of things going on the surface also. It's a really good box set. But due to the fact it was pulled, nobody's seen them because if you get one for, they usually go about $700-800. I think they're very hard to find.
They're not easy to find.
No.
And now we're going to be getting this stuff back. Gary's World Builder
so
series.
Great. They had what's the one they already did the town of Eggsburg, which is awesome. That already had a Kickstarter for that.
Right, and that was a reprint, and
reprint, yeah.
They're
talking about not just reprinting this one, Eric, but including more info.
Oh no, I know. They're going.
That's so great.
Right. That's why they're bringing in Mike Stewart now. Jeff Trelanian, for many people, got his start. People got to know who Jeff was from his work on Castle Zagig.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff has his own company now. He has his own projects.
The great game Hyperborea, which is incredible game, absolutely incredible game.
So I know he was mentioned on the page at Troll Lords. I'm hoping that Jeff will be involved as a consultant, but I don't know. I don't know how much time the man has. So
as Jeff has told us many times, he has notes for a lot of stuff that he just thought was never going to be published. because when Gail clawed the rights back, it's all done. He was always hopeful that someday the stuff that he and Gary worked on that was not published, which is apparently a lot of stuff. There's apparently
Yeah.
a lot of stuff there, and so I'm hoping. I really, really hope that Troll Lords will reach out to Jeff, and I hope that Jeff is a part of this, because the work he did on Cast as a Gig is incredible, and I just think anything he has that's unpublished would be awesome. I'd love to see all that. I'd love to see everything he did that he was not that he and Gary worked on. Luke is going to be part of this. Luke said
Yep.
on his thread that he is writing some stuff for this. Made some very funny comments, unintentionally hilarious, or maybe intentionally hilarious about when somebody asked him, "Hey, on your thank you page for this, Gail Gygax isn't mentioned. Is that deliberate?" And he said, "Yes, it is."
Well, he said
Wah, wah,
well, no,
wah.
he said it is what it is. Is actually what it
Yeah,
is.
it is what it is. Yeah, he pretty
It
much
is what it is.
wink, wink. Yeah,
Wink, wink.
Yeah, we ain't thanking her. Sorry.
Yeah.
So that's great. That's great.
Yeah. John, that's what I'm saying. Listen, I saw Troll Lord mention Jeff's name in the sales pitch for all this stuff that's going on. I know Jeff. I know how busy he is with his stuff. I don't know how deeply involved he will be, but
Well, we're hoping he's involved. We really hope he
Yeah.
is, because he, like I said, he did a lot of work with Gary that was never published, and we would love to. As a completist, I'd love to see that finally. And plus, Jeff's a great writer. Jeff's a great writer and
Yeah.
a great gamer, and that's kind of where he cut his teeth. Right? Was this before he started
Yeah.
Hyperborea? And so I'd love to see what he wrote. Some of the stuff he wrote. They also had a bunch of source books that basically broke the city of Eggsburg down to different areas. Apparently, a lot more of those were written. I think only 4 ever appeared. Apparently, there was quite a few of those written too that never saw the light of day. Yeah, we just like to see this stuff eventually all come out. It'd be great.
Yeah. So it's exciting times. When and now, to be honest, I'm very happy that Troll Lord has the license. Troll Lord has a history with the IP and the content, has a history working with the Gygax family. It's in good hands. They had a good relationship with Gary. I had heard, listen, this whole industry is full of rumors. All right. And there was a rumor that, maybe Luke's going to want to, turn Gax Works into a major publisher and publish us all. But I think Luke recognizes that the Chenaults and Troll Lord Games had a special connection with his father. And this is a legacy. And if you want to keep that legacy going, you keep it in that hands and you work with them. And this might also be a great way for Luke to get more stuff published. It's a win-win for everybody. And, it really, really is. So I'm very
plus,
excited to see this.
Gary Con was a direct result of something they called Lake Geneva Game Days, and Lake Geneva Game Days was run by basically the Troll Lords, and so that they did this. These were like prequels to Gary Con, where basically they're just like, hey, everybody come up and hang out in Gary's front yard in his in his porch, and so people would just come up. I think they had 3. I want to say they had 3 of them, and they would come up and just hang out at Gary's house for the weekend, and then as everybody knows or maybe doesn't know, when Gary passed away, everybody met that night and gamed, and I guess that's what they call Gary Con Zero. When everybody's sitting around going, man, we should do this every year. This is awesome. So Lake Geneva Game Days was started by the Troll Lords. That was kind of a precursor to Gary Con. They have been involved in this in a long time, and they were obviously they published Gary's game Legendary Adventures, and Chenault and Gary were very close. That they were really tight.
Yeah, no, definitely. So listen, we wanted to get the good news out of the way, right? The actual good news.
Yes,
So,
then this is good news, folks.
right.
This is something that people in the industry, literally, people, Eric and I or whatever, we did not think this was ever going to happen.
No.
Because Gail had absolutely zero intent of ever republishing this stuff. God knows what she was ever going to do with this. Nobody knows the plan. There was no plan. There's never been a plan. I don't care what they say. In my opinion, there was never a plan. Because in the decade that Gary's been gone, absolutely nothing was ever done by Gail or her sycophants to get anything published or do anything with it. Nothing. Zero, nada, not a thing. And so we're very happy to see this. This is just amazing. This is happening.
And it's a great announcement for what is the 50th anniversary of D&D.
Yeah.
Now, I think we'll use that as a segue. So Mike, this past weekend, there's a lot of posts up on Facebook and memes that this past weekend, I believe Saturday specifically, was the 50th anniversary of D&D. It was
Correct.
when the first the wood grain set went on sale.
So that means I was running my game on the 50th anniversary. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'd forgotten all about that. That's very cool. Very, very
well,
cool.
Who else forgot all about that?
Scratch.
Yeah, I know. Wizards of the Coast, pretty much.
I mean, yeah, those guys. I forgot. I forgot.
I didn't see any big announcement, any big hoorah.
Yeah.
I might have missed it. Honestly, I don't check the WotC sites all that awesome, but you know.
Well, you know, certainly they've got something really big. No, don't worry, Eric. They've got something really big later on in the year. Don't worry. Just wait a little bit.
Wasn't it
it'll
like
happen.
around tax day they planned on? Oh, but then they pulled that. They said no, that's not a real date. That was just a date. It was an intern date, like because they always have the interns doing the important stuff. Like,
yeah. Don't worry. This is going to eventually happen. No, it's no problem. Absolutely going to eventually, maybe sometimes, possibly. Probably not though. But you never know. But you know. Yeah, they've already bungled this. This has been bungle, more bungle, and more bungle. So,
no, Bob, we're not going to have official D&D pencil dice.
But if you think about it, maybe we could do some pencil. No.
I am sure if you could, somebody's already got it ready to go.
Yeah,
for the 50th
somebody's
anniversary.
already got that idea. Somebody's already had that idea.
Just an ampersand on your die. It'll be, you know what? Your 6 sides, there's an ampersand, and then there's 2 ampersands, and then there's 3 ampersands, and then for your 6-sided part of the die, you got 6 ampersands. There you go.
Goodness.
That's it. So.
Oh my goodness.
What?
Nothing. I'm just reading some of the comments.
Oh, the comments are awesome.
You guys are on fire tonight in the comments.
They're on fire, I tell you. I settled for some actual D&D in my D&D.
How dare you say something that crazy?
What? You want actual creators creating stuff for it? You do. We got that third party. Come on.
WotC doesn't want to waste a business opportunity. If there's any kind of 50th anniversary celebration, it's going to happen at Gen Con, and that's all it's ever going to happen at. It's going to be a Gen Con thing because they want to monetize it and put as many eyes as they can on a 50th anniversary. So they don't care about January 26th. They don't care about anything, but they care about Gen Con. So you'll see something at Gen Con. I don't know what, but something will be released or done or played or whatever because that's going to put eyes in their product. That's all they care about now.
What? My product is a good product? No, you don't want to buy D&D. You want to.
By the way, I like to tell you something too.
What?
I spent the weekend with Mike Stewart. He did not even. That guy is either the best secret keeper in the business, or he just thinks, or he just doesn't want to share because he did not say one word about that.
Well, it had the announcement on Monday, so he probably.
I know.
Under embargo.
I wanted to just everybody troll Lord. Just want to let you know this guy can keep a secret, okay? Because he did not mention one thing about this. So kudos to you, Mike, for keeping your lips closed tight. So that's awesome.
John Miller, has Wizard given more precise release dates for any of its 2024 products? If not, how
Oh
much
man, there's so
evidence
much
does it
humor
provide
tonight.
for the
So
possible
much
sale
humor.
of
This
all the
is
D&D IP, not just the video game rights? So,
oh
okay, we'll dive now into the Tencent is buying D&D,
yeah.
which if you read the listen, I went the extra step. I woke up this morning to PMs and phone calls and emails, making sure I didn't miss it. And everybody has the same article, and it's the same article that was going back to the original Chinese articles. I said, I've got Google. Google had the translate feature. Let me go
Okay.
to the original article
Oh
and
well.
see what it is before the game of phone tag started. And it stresses that they're looking to buy rights to D&D, but most importantly, the video game computer rights. And I would believe that this would be something that they're looking at, kind of like what was it, like Sweet Pea Entertainment used to have the D&D movie rights, and they
Yeah.
had the
Yeah.
rights where as long as they put out a movie every like 2 or 3 years, they had the rights indefinitely.
And God help them, they could never get those rights away from these people because then they
Yeah,
started releasing direct to video, terrible direct to video just to keep the rights. And there wasn't a damn thing that WotC could do because they just sold those rights way too cheap. They finally realized. And so yes, that was pretty fun. That's another misstep on the road to missteps of WotC's management over the
so
past
now
2 decades.
Larian, the company that put out Baldur's Gate 3, and this is the story, and we'll see how accurate the story is going forward. But Larian, the company that made Baldur's Gate 3, which is a super super hit. I haven't tried it yet. I probably will when I
Very popular. One of the best.
when I have
Won
like
many Game of the Year awards.
yeah
Very
when I
good.
decide that I want to have no life for 2 weeks, I'll pick it up.
Sure.
But and I'll avoid the sex scenes. But in any case, I
Come on,
know
bear sex.
bear
You're gonna avoid the
bear
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 sex.
sex,
All
man,
right, all
bear
right,
sex.
okay.
But here's the thing: they licensed it from Wizards of the Coast. Wizards of the Coast got paid and is going to get paid for every copy sold. So that's money that Larian is not getting. Number
Uh
one.
oh.
Number two, Larian obviously says, wow, this is a goose that lays golden eggs. We want to do Baldur's Gate 4 or other similar games. I'd love to have exclusive rights. WotC wants, it appears, to license out but also retain rights. This is what we saw
Okay.
in a recent article, and looking at what they were doing with how they are hiring new vice presidents, and then Larian supposedly went to Tencent. Tencent owns a 30% stake in Larian. Now, before the conspiracy theorists go, no, they don't own a 30%, it's privately owned. It's an investment stake. I have an article on Bloomberg. If you want to look at my video from earlier today, I put it in the comments. There's an article from Bloomberg talking about the 30% investment in Larian. So now, Tencent is a huge uh, Chinese company, maybe multinational at this point, but it's certainly headquartered in China. Do they really want the rights to a tabletop RPG? No, they want the rights to a computer game and console game. Now, if they could get those rights separately, kind of like how Games Workshop sells off the rights to their RPG, but they retain the wargaming rights, but they'll license out the other stuff.
Interesting.
Um, I could see um, Tencent either acquiring D&D as a whole, but I doubt it. And the reason why I doubt it is because even the tabletop aspect, with this whole going to the VTT, all this money invested, WotC wants that money, and that's part of their income plan.
Sure.
But if you said, "Hey, we will give you," and I hate this word because we see how this word works, perpetual license, we'll give you, you pay a one-time fee, $1.5 billion, and you own the license to create RPGs and console games for D&D for the next 20 years, or something like that.
Mm,
I could see that happening because, let's be honest, Hasbro wants money right now.
yes.
You know,
Cash poor right now. They're cash poor, but they've got properties. They own valuable real estate when it comes to properties. I mean, not just. I mean, we're talking Magic, Pokemon, all that stuff, and D&D is one of them. So, but right now they need cash, man.
right. They are, and here's the thing, and I read an article about this in general. But for these corporations, if you are one of the officers in charge, bringing in money gives you bonuses. Even if you're selling,
Yeah.
short-term gains are what they don't generally look too far in the long term. At most, they're looking a year or two in advance. They need a cash flow right now, and getting that license. Now, remember too that the only thing that really put WotC in the full black last year was Baldur's Gate 3.
Baldur's Gate 3 because they lost. Well, the movie didn't lose money, but it didn't make any money. It basically broke even, which is not good if you're making movies. That's a no. You need to make money, and everything else really didn't make any money. I mean, nothing else made money. Baldur's Gate 3 literally saved the company last year because it like I said, game of the year, and it sold countless copies. I mean, it did really really well. I think it did way over their expectation, and so that it basically saved their ass.
You know what? I climbing that mountain has. I have a comment I can make, but
I'm gonna take that. You know what? I'm gonna um, I'm gonna say that you know what you're talking about, climbing, and let's just stay with that. And I trust you. I trust you on this
like
one.
I could probably send you to a location that would be more
Okay.
accurate for that, but I'm
All
not
right.
going to.
Okay.
The Speed Daily article makes it clear that Tencent is interest is in the video game rights to D&D, but it is vague and ambiguous as to whether the sale will be for all rights or only the video game. Yes, they're not interested in the tabletop rights, but it might be an all package deal. And if it was this, I would my solid guess. Again, I have no inside information. I'm gonna literally talk out of my ass. If Tencent got all the rights, they would immediately license out the tabletop rights.
Sure.
They could license it back to Wizards of the Coast for all
Oh
the
hell
fucking,
yeah.
but they're going to license those rights out because they have no intention of being a tabletop RPG publisher. It ain't happening. So,
No. No. And look, if you're smart, if you're a smart businessman and stuff like this happens, you find the unlike WotC, you find the best people possible to put this out and you license it to them. WotC's not the best steward of D&D right now. They're not the best person to put stuff out. Their last few writing projects have got roundly panned because it's not any good. So they would be better off licensing it out to somebody who actually knows how to write and actually does something.
yep, definitely. Now, John Miller says the article also mentions that there are other potential buyers. Does anyone know who else Hasbro might be looking to sell D&D to? Microsoft? Well, Microsoft. You know what? They would with their in-house studios. They would be again. I don't think
Yeah.
they want the. I don't think. Here's the thing. I don't think a lot of these potential buyers want a tabletop RPG. Not that WotC wants it necessarily either, but the tabletop RPG has to exist for the VTT to exist, even if it's just a feeder program. They need it now. Again, could they sell the rights to video and console gaming? They're going to have to be very careful when they do that, right? Because wasn't there a problem with another company selling? I think it was actually or licensing. I think it was Games Workshop licensing
Yeah.
I could be wrong. The digital rights, and then the company that got the digital rights thought that meant that they also got the PDF rights. So you got to be careful,
Yeah.
right? Lawyers suck.
Yes.
I have good ones, but in
Yes.
general, lawyers suck. Is there a? Oh, it's too early to have a certain lawyer in the room right now. He's probably still working.
Call it. Yeah. He'll pop in at their inopportune moment. Probably an hour from now. So.
Yeah. Climbing up mountain. What's D&D really worth without the video game rights, though? Would Tencent allow them to keep the VTT? Probably not.
Well, that'd be in the contract. They'd have to, otherwise
Right.
they wouldn't
Right.
do it. So.
Right. And I think that WotC sees the VTT as potentially $1 billion property in and of itself. So that is going to be a huge price that Tencent doesn't want to pay. I would assume that they want the rights to console
Oh
and
sure.
computer
Yeah.
games, and they will then license it to Larian from within. Maybe they'll buy out Larian completely. Who the heck knows? But again, until it happens, this could be. Listen, let's take this for what it's worth. This could be Hasbro trying to get uh, an idea of how much D&D is worth. They want to get bids on the property, and maybe they're just feeding it out there. And maybe it's not a serious process, but sometimes you don't know what something is worth until
Sure.
you put it up for sale.
Put it up for bid. Yeah, and then you find out. At least you get a good idea of what. Okay, here's what we should be looking at. You may be completely off until you start getting offers.
TXG, could Paizo potentially buy the TTRPG rights? Um, Unless Paizo suddenly has money they hadn't had. I mean, wow, Mike, that's a good ring.
That's my glucose monitor saying, "Hey, your
Oh,
blood
your
sugar's going up
glucose
a
is
little bit."
low.
No, it's
Yeah.
actually a little high. I had dinner. I
Oh,
forgot to take a shot at dinner, so I may black the screen out just a second as I reach for my knee. Unless you guys want to see me shoot up, I mean, I'll shoot up on screen.
okay. Oh, Mike, let's see.
You guys pay. I want to, you guys get your money worth of tonight's show, so I'll even shoot it whatever part of your body you want me to
All
shoot the
right.
shot in. So,
Well, here, listen. Can
well,
my
it actually
phone
has to
even
go in
show?
fat.
I'm at
It has to go in
99 right
fat.
now.
Oh dear
I'm
God.
at 99 now, so mine might go off. But if it does go off, it's gonna be the first.
You're actually you got healthy. Mine's
I'll
about
be like, it's like
yeah.
time to eat Swedish fishes. You gotta
Mine's
see
about
me go.
200. So yeah, I should
Okay.
have not forgot my shot today. Oops, sorry.
I got you.
Yeah.
So, Paizo, at one point during the Paizo drama times, Paizo was making payroll right from the owner's checkbook, and
Right.
checking account. It was not a good time for Paizo. I don't think Paizo has the cash on hand to purchase the rights to D&D. And why would they
Unfortunately, yeah,
want to?
and
They
they-
already have Pathfinder.
Well, they,
So-
you know what, though? They would do a good job with it. They, would probably
They would.
They,
But I think they have their own system. They're not. Why would they?
Yeah.
Why would they want to compete with themselves?
no, they're doing just fine with what they have.
David Thompson, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
He joined us right before bedtime.
Yeah. James Ragged, yes, do all the drugs on stream.
Why did I think that James would
It's,
say that?
it's
By the way, we're hoping to have an announcement, something to do with James, and that's all I can say in the next soon, unless James wants to make the announcement now. James in North Texas, we may have an announcement next few weeks.
Ooh.
So. Just throwing that out there.
Especially.
We had a great time. James came last year. Awesome. We finally got to meet for the first time in person after knowing him God knows how many years online. It was
Oh yeah.
yeah, great. I just coolest guy ever. What can I say? Coolest dude. Very James is very what's the word? Doesn't really have a super big ego. He's very just laid back, just cool dude.
Yeah.
So
He's the guy next door. If the guy next door
yes.
did YouTube videos naked.
The guy next door looks like he, naked. He could take you in a bear hug, crush you, and kill you. Yeah,
Yes, and that would be James.
absolutely could do that.
David Thompson, Tencent loved their malware in the games they put out. Well, D&D already has malware, right? In 5e, it's already there.
They have been so Tencent has been accused of some shady business practices over the years. Yes, that's true.
Not us. No. I guess that's why people were offended when I mentioned that Tencent had a 30% stake in Larry in it. It was like, leave Britney alone. No, they don't. They don't. Yeah. They're privately owned.
Show me where the game company hurt you. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, tell me where Tencent touched you. Oh, in the pocketbook. All right, right in the wallet. I get you. I understand. It's painful. I know. Pulling those dollar bills out one by one. Microtransactions for the win. James, being deaf to tabletop RPG culture sounds like a good thing. I wish I could be deaf to the culture. We're gonna get to the wackiness in a little bit, man. We're working our way to the whack. Whack job. Let me catch up on. No, it's not malware. It's gotcha boxes, gotcha loot boxes. You can have. Who knows what the VTT is going to have? Maybe we could add loot boxes to the VTT. David, they buy into companies to get access to their IP, customer data, etc. All about the data. I can believe that.
Yeah, they have been accused of data looting or whatever they call it. I don't know what the kids call it nowadays.
Well, John, if you read the expose, what we've been calling Dungeon Gate, you'll see that somebody wanted to buy Lamentations out when they drove James bankrupt. They were going to bankrupt him, which is going to be a little weird because most of what James publishes, he publishes under contracts that leave the works in the rights and the names and of their writers and creators.
Yeah, very author friendly. So I don't know what they thought they would be getting if they did that. So
Tencent works with CCP state security regularly. Well, wouldn't you love that? Imagine if, well, the youth of America are now controlled via Dungeons and Dragons, and the new VTT owned by Tencent.
So I mean, I guess I think the bigger story here is this broke off a Chinese media site, and immediately everybody started flipping out because, Eric, I think we're at the point now where we're willing to believe pretty much the worst about WotC.
Oh God!
And we're also willing to believe pretty much anything that rolls along the pike about WotC because that's just the world we live in 2024, and considering what they how 2023 treated us and treated gamers, I was surprised at all the click. I mean, when I saw the story, I thought it sounded very clickbaity, and I was like, grain of salt. I was surprised all the people that ran with this right off the bat, like, oh my God, this some companies buying D&D, but that's what they've done to us. That this is what WotC has done to us. They've made us absolutely, well, I guess, if it's in the news, it happened. Because, let's put it this way, Eric, would you have been surprised?
No.
Because that's the reality we live in now. Nothing that WotC management does surprises us. I think that's the biggest story here. That everybody was willing to believe whatever they just popped in their head at the moment, because that's what they've done. We're like a battered spouse here. We're just like, yeah, whatever. Just and I guess I want to make a point about this too. I also read this and I saw a lot of people were flipping out, blah blah blah, yada yada, whatever. Oh my God, what are they doing to D&D? So my mantra is for 2024 is going to be, I don't care. And this is why. Because, and I've said this on the show before, Eric said this before, Eric's done blogs about this. What WotC does from this point forward should not concern any of us. it's sad. It's really sad because we used to like TSR. I'm not saying you WotC, but we have a lot of
Right.
nostalgia for TSR. And I still see those three letters and I still have a feeling inside me. But that company is long gone. The
Well,
creators that we followed are long gone.
yes,
And
but have to remember
the
too.
game that we played is no longer here.
Listen, at the end of the TSR era, with the beginning of the internet, TSR stood for they sue regularly. All right.
Yes, yes.
But once you had the internet books start coming out, and I remember
Mm.
that getting it on my IBM PC 486 33 hertz. I was rocking with a 420 megabyte hard drive,
Woo.
and I was downloading these books, and it was awesome. It was exciting. It was like holy crap! This is what it should be. And right away, TSR started basically putting down copyright infringement notices and stuff. People were getting threatened, and it wasn't a good ending for them. And then WotC did the opposite initially. WotC gave us the OGL and the SRD, and initially the D20 license until they realized that was stupid. You know, so
Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, and the whole thing is, look, we have something now. It's called the OSR. This is where our bread and butter should be. This is where our hopes and dreams should be. Everything going on in Watts right now, it's a backdrop. It's sad. It's like watching. I'm trying to think of a example that doesn't stretch the bounds of good taste. But that's tough for me, Eric. That's really tough because usually everything I do stretches the bounds of good taste. But it's like you have. It's like you have an ex-boyfriend. Okay, I'm not gonna say ex-girlfriend. I don't want to get in trouble for that. I'm gonna say you have an ex-boyfriend, straight or gay. You have an ex-boyfriend, and your ex-boyfriend, you had some great times together, but you had a kind of rough breakup, and now you see your ex-boyfriend, and he's appearing on Cops, and it looks like he's gained 400 pounds, and he's bald, and he was just accused of like robbing 6 liquor stores with a broken bottle, and he looks like he's
bad boy,
homeless,
bad boy.
and you're like, oh my gosh, you don't have any loyalty to the ex-boyfriend anymore. That's part of your life that way back when. You don't have to say, oh, I feel so sorry for Big Ed. Big Ed, look at what he's got to. No, you just go, you look at your present husband, and you say, yep, made the right choice here. Big Ed's going to the big. He's going to the big town for a while, the big house, and so this is the same thing. Look, we had some great years together. TSR, it was wonderful, it was lovely. They no longer exist. The company they created no longer exists. The creators that were that company are no longer there. You don't worry about what's going on with WotC and people that write these real clickbaity. Oh my God, D&D is D&D over? No, D&D's not over. Well, is WotC over? I don't know, maybe. But who cares? You don't care about them anymore. You know what you care about, Eric? You care
What?
about Shadow Dark. You care about Hyperborea. You care about Dragon Slayer. You could even care about Pathfinder. Because at least Pathfinder's got something going on still. You care about creators that work in the OSR. You care about your Tom Wilsons and your Jeff Talanians and your Troll Lord games and your Frog Guy games. That's who you care about
Your
now.
James Raggies,
Your
James,
Lamentations of the Flame Princesses.
your James Desborough.
Prince
Listen,
Eye.
I don't like everything that James Desborough puts out, but I like the man. Just like I don't like Zach Smith for shit, but I like some of the work he does. So just because I like it doesn't mean I like what you put out, and just because I like what you put out, well, that doesn't sound right. I like what you put out doesn't mean
Yeah.
By the way, Mike, don't get stage fright. The roll for combat is actually in the chat right now.
Whoa,
We got
whoa,
we
whoa, what?
what? Yeah,
Hello,
no.
hello. Oh my gosh, we got all the celebs coming on tonight. This is crazy.
We got the
This is
Raggy.
crazy. We got the Raggy. We got the. Oh my goodness, we got everybody. Well, but yeah. So anyway, Eric's right, and look, we're going to take our approach this year is going to be very clinical. We're not going to get real emotional in anything WotC does this year because Eric and I don't care about WotC anymore. We care about Swords and Wizardry. We care about basic fantasy. This is what we care about: games that we like to play, creators that care, creators that put out product that we want to see. You know, we care about the James Raggies, everybody that comes to North Texas, the people that put out conventions that cater to old school gamers. That's what we care about now. This is, you know, it's sad to see what's happening to your, you know, your old ex boyfriend, but just be grateful you didn't marry your. Wait,
Well,
that's a terrible
be
analogy.
glad you left that
Analogy.
boyfriend. You left that
Yes.
boyfriend 20 years ago.
Be glad you left
Yeah,
boyfriend
the hell
24
with
years
you.
ago. You tossed that boyfriend 24 years ago. You could look on him on the internet now and go, dang, he looks awful. And you know, and you just keep going with your life. And that's exactly how we're going to approach it this year. You know, we're not going to get all emotional and oh my God, clickbaity and crazy and oh my God, this because who cares? Really, seriously, Eric, who cares anymore? I don't care what they do to themselves. They've done enough self-inflicted wounds that I just don't care anymore.
Well,
You know?
when we say self-inflicted wounds, it's almost like they enjoy cutting. And I want to get, yeah, I've seen it. You know, it is literally self-inflicted. By the way, Anon Swords and Wizardry is white box plus the supplements,
Right.
essentially. All right. If you want BX, you're talking games like Labyrinth Lord. If you care about it at this point,
Dragon Slayer is going to be a better version
Dragon
of that.
Slayer, OSC.
James Gonerman's Basic Fantasy Role Playing does BX. So yeah,
Yes.
you're talking about.
So they're going to
Actually,
have folks. They're going to have Greg Gillespie on to talk about Dragon Slayer and Roll for Combat. Greg is an excellent guest. We've had him frequently.
Oh yeah, we have. Yeah,
I have
he usually pops on.
because I know Greg. I have a copy of the Dragon Slayer PDF. I'm working on a bar class for it. It's working slowly, not as fast as I want. But I really like the way he handles BX and puts the Gillespie touch to it. So it's going to be. It may listen. I'm a Swords and Wizardry guy. Swords and Wizardry light at cons. That's what I run. But for a home game, I may start doing Dragon Slayer. But we shall see.
Yeah, it looks good. I've seen it. It looks good.
Raggy. The problem
Raggy
with using D&D, WotC, or whatever, whoever might end up owning corporate D&D is that they're a good gateway to bring new players in. And they're shit enough that any other game will look better.
But here's the thing, James. They still are. They'll still look. 5e, for all the faults of 5e and the people who don't like 5e, 5e is the most played version of the game D&D. It has the most sales video version of D&D. And here's the great thing about 5e: it brought a lot of people in via stuff like Critical Role, and and just the fact that Ventures League, whatever. And I'm going to tell you right now, as somebody that runs a convention and also attends a lot of conventions, these people, they come in through 5e. A lot of them move to the OSR, Eric.
Yes.
A lot of them do. So that's great. I mean, that's good. These people that come in, the ones that you want to get into old school end up getting into old school because they get tired of 5e after a while. They want to try something different, something harder, something, as the kid said at the convention a few years ago that I always bring up, that he was playing 5e and 1e in the same con. I said, what do you usually play? 5e. Why do you play 1e? I want to see what D&D is like on the hard level, because that's the way he considered it, because he heard in 1e you could die, and look, it appeals to a lot of people. The OSC, look, OSC, if you look at the OSC audience, it's very evenly split between people who loved BX, because OSC is basically a almost exact BX clone, old school essentials, and 5e people that were dissatisfied with 5e. It's almost exact. If you go to their Discord, it's almost exactly broke down the middle like that, which is great. I mean, so it brought new people in. So you still have the old people that love to play BX and they're playing it, but you also have the new people that want to play something different, something easier to roll up characters to, something easier just to throw down and play. Look, the BX game that I ran this weekend, we got out, we rolled our characters, we figured out our bonuses, they suited up and got their stuff, and boom, we were venturing just like that.
Right.
And that is the beauty of these old school games. That's the beauty of, that's something that D&D, official D&D, will never be able to match, because no matter what they do, even 5e is not that hard to get into, but it's still going to take you 30 minutes to an hour to roll per character probably.
Oh,
and
easy.
it's unless you have a pre-gens. And so, yeah, that's great. I think even if D&D is terrible, James, I think it's still going to bring people to the hobby, and those people, once they get in the hobby, find out about retro clones, and they go to conventions like Nortex. They find out about old school games, and they just find out there's this incredible world out there that they're not aware of. And once they're aware of it, they're like, "Oh my God, there's all these different flavors of D&D. I didn't know that."
Flavors?
There's
like
not
Baskin Robbins. Holy crap!
There's not just. Wait a second. It's not just Critical Role. It's other things too. Yes, it's all these other things, and that is the beauty of the game. That's why we don't need WotC anymore. We don't need WotC anymore.
Well, I would still like to see the 3.1 SRD come out with the Creative Commons, but I'm not going to hold my breath because WotC makes promises and they don't always keep them. So it's case hurrah, hurrah. By the way, folks, the link on the bottom of the screen is for Tenkar-tavern.game/COC. That's Call of Cthulhu. It's up on Humble Bundle. This will take you to Humble Bundle. We don't do sponsorships. We don't do advertisements.
We don't like money. We hate money.
Well, we like money. We like money, but we like our integrity. We like our integrity.
Oh yes. What?
We don't like to be beholden to anyone. So, except for
I never advertise anything. Look, I want to keep our integrity intact here.
Yet.
I would never sell myself for rights to drink whiskey on the show, or to support a sports franchise on the air, or anything like that. I would never do anything. I would never try to support a game or anything
we do that.
like
We do that for free, Mike.
Never
do that for free. We don't do that for recompense.
I just thought my check was lost. I thought you wrote me a big check years ago and it just never got here. I didn't know.
No, never. They never had that problem. Affiliate links are what we, listen, the YouTube ads on a good day is $7, and on the average day is probably about $2. We don't make much money from that. But
we're doing this really wrong. We're really not doing this right.
If you want to support, if you want to keep mic and headsets,
yes. So far, it hasn't failed yet. Three broadcasts in a row, not failed.
If you want to keep, I don't know, Glenn Hallstrom, and he's got a good mic. It's last him for years.
Yeah,
now.
He's got a good.
I use the advertising money and the money that we get from this to keep my co-hosts in proper equipment to give you the best show we can give you.
What does Joe the lawyer get? Does he ever get anything, or does he?
Joe got an iPad early on.
Holy shit! I only got a pair of headphones.
He got
an iPad.
He got an iPad Pro when I upgraded. So. All right, so
we're gonna discuss my contract later.
We're gonna have to have a little discussion.
We're gonna have to have a little discussion of my contract here. I think
it wasn't new; it was well used. But yes.
Okay. Oh, okay. Well, all right. Probably.
Oh, by the way, Don sent us copies of his book, so I have to forward your copy to you.
Yes, I would love to see it. That is awesome. This is the Tim Kask one. The one
no. This is Don's own fiction writing.
Yeah, right. Okay, that's right. I don't talk about that. Yes. So very cool. That's awesome.
I will forward it. I still have to make a post office trip from OSR Christmas.
No hurry. I'm back.
I had so many family distractions going on. It hasn't happened yet.
Oh dear.
What does the bartender have under the bar? Oh, excuse me. What I have under the bar? I don't know, a cushy footrest. My desk, listen.
I got a cat. I got a cat.
Oh, I got my cat somewhere. She's not put in trouble right now. By the way, my cat likes to get on my keyboard, and if I move my keyboard, she hisses at me.
Gosh.
She likes to make the noise on the keyboard, and I take it away because it's a wireless keyboard. I just pick it up and move it, and she gets all pissy and I'm like, listen, I'm doing stuff. I don't need you sending random emails.
So if you watched our show enough, so my cat's deal is she doesn't bother me usually, but when on Wednesday night we do the show, she sees me talking to the computer, and that's when she wants me to. So she jumps up. She's like, "What's going on? What's going on?" I have to hold her for about 5 minutes. I let her go. She's fine after that. It's like she sees me talking to the computer. Like, why are you talking to the computer? You could be petting me. What do you do? So she doesn't get it, man. She doesn't get what we're doing here, and so she wants me to mess with her for a while, and then after that we're okay. She doesn't bother me. Thank God she's not one of those cats that sleeps on the keyboard or sleeps on the laptop.
Are you psyched now? to jump into Dungeon Gate? Because by the way, there's something
Yes.
I want to point. I want to point out something. I hope James Raggy's still here.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so hold on, James. This could be you. This looks like, if James was like on an SNL skit,
Yeah.
I could see that being
That's
James.
James in a wig. Yeah, that could be
Yeah,
James in a wig.
yeah, So James, you're maybe James wrote the article, or no, all right, no, he didn't write the article because
No,
he was
this
actually
is
a
an actual human
victim.
being. Dr. Cleo is an actual human being. So
Yes,
we think.
it looks a bit like you, James. What? Look, just a wee bit. And I say that with affection.
Don't
I say
insult
that
James like this. Come on. Or are you
I say
insulting
that with
Dr. Cleo? I
affection.
don't. Maybe I think you're insulting both of them there. That's not fair.
All right. Well, being that I've seen, like most of the internet, I've seen James naked.
You watched a little farther than I did on those videos. I'm afraid. I wanted to keep the magic secret.
I listen. My desktop artwork used to be the James laying out in the bed with the bare
Disturbing.
butt. I used to, just so I could keep myself real,
Okay.
you know, and to
You're
say,
outing yourself. Way to go.
yep. So, by the way, remember, yeah, Rachel's a social worker. She has her master's. So I read pretty much this whole article to Rach as I was after I read like the first couple of pages. I went, "Holy shit, this is."
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
yeah,
you sent me this, and I got it from like 5 people all at once. And so I can't remember where it first where did it first appear that all of a sudden I started getting it all over the place. And so I started reading it, and I thought it was like a mystery novel. Okay, I thought it was going to go one way because the
yep,
way it
and then
began. I thought, okay, this is going to go, and it went in absolutely unpredictable direction. Then the surprise ending, it went to a direction I never saw coming, and you could have told me this direction, I would have never believed it. And I was just like, holy shit, holy crap. And yes, it was interesting, and I was asking Eric, I was like, I haven't seen a lot about this in the media the last week, even though it's got some very explosive accusations. And you explained why, and once you
right,
explained why, it made perfect sense. Why not?
right. So the reason why you're not seeing this, and listen, I'm gonna throw my own 2 cents in here afterwards because I think the reason goes beyond the reason. The reason why you're not hearing about this is that many forums, many social sites and communities have what has been affectionately called a Nozak rule. So, and there's been other people added to that. Some of these groups have added the no Alex Macris rule to it.
And their explanation is that if you love him or hate him, whatever happens, when these people are brought up, it derails whatever conversation is going on, and you have people screaming at each other back and forth. And rather than actually have a moderator that could deal with it, their solution is just we're just not even going to discuss these people at all because they derail every conversation they're in. That's the lazy man's way of dealing with the problem.
Yeah, I mean it, but it's not. But that's not really the reason. Okay, the
Right.
real
That's the
reason.
official reason.
That's the
Yes.
official reason. Just like they're like when with the OSR Discord, when you hear the conversation and you can hear the audio. Thanks to James Desborough. By the way, James has been getting uh, struck with I don't know. I don't think it's copyright notices. It's the same thing that I was getting last year at this time when I
Mm.
was talking about a certain individual. Not the one. Some people come right to
Oh
their
dear.
mind, but
Yeah.
somebody else who liked to make these weird ass like fiction stories that were bizarrely sexual about
Mm-hmm.
Lord George. But
Oh dear.
yeah. So and I was getting
Uh,
hit with complaints, privacy complaints. Well, James been getting hit with privacy complaints, but not just on recent videos, on old videos. Even one where he discusses, I believe, his suicidal thoughts, got hit with a privacy complaint. So there is an active movement to shut this stuff down.
Right, right.
So with James's permission, I reshared the audio on this channel. And yes, RPG Grandma, they're most likely fake complaints.
Oh yeah, but
Um,
it's a very easy but very chicken shit way to cause people harm,
yes,
because it's just like the death by a thousand cuts. You have to deal with, even though they try to take this stuff down. In Eric's case, he got it put right back. It's really easy to get rid of, but it just wastes your time. It's a time waster, and
right.
it's
So they
chicken
want you
shit.
to
It's very chicken
respond.
shit.
Yeah. So and actually, stuff stays up, I think, for 48 hours, and then they do their investigation. But in the meantime,
Yeah,
you're supposed to rectify. I had nothing to rectify.
right.
Are these people selling stuff on drive-through? Yes. Yes, they have stuff on drive-through.
Mm-hmm.
They certainly
Yes.
do. The owner of drive-through was one of them, isn't he? Couldn't tell you. They're not in the article. They're not mentioned. So, but remember, drive-through was owned by Roll20.
Mm-hmm.
So if you got a problem with one, you might have a problem with the other. Again, I don't know. They weren't mentioned in the article. I've never had any interactions with
So
anybody
so
involved
so
in
Eric,
local
go over
drive-through.
what did Doctor Cleo put that was so controversial
Oh,
that just shocked? So let's go over a bit for those who want the Cliff Notes
okay.
version of what
Okay. The
this
Cliff
actually
Notes
contained.
version is sorry. She has a doctor in social work. All right. So,
Mm-hmm.
and she was doing a project. Now, this project, she interviewed people that aren't included in this article. And how do we
Right.
know that? Because people have reached out to other people in the community. They've spoken about it on social media. Hey, I was interviewed. I guess I wasn't interesting enough. Okay. She decided that she was going to interview people that she would feel comfortable with. And I'm trying to find out where she talks about that. Um, Here we go. She says, I was more interested. She didn't care about those that get all upset about, I don't know, a black character on Star Wars that might have been white before. Doesn't care about that. Who does? No real person does.
No.
I was more interested in those who, at least on paper, were like the people around me every day and who are what the industry claimed to want to be. Creative artists, writers, progressives, feminists, LGBTQ folk. So so people, I had complaints on my initial video where I cover this. Well, why are you only talking about LGBTQ? Because that's what she focused on. And I'm going to tell you, my suspicion is she focused on that because she identifies as a lesbian. So therefore, she has that in. They're going to feel comfortable with her. I understand your struggles. I understand what it's like to be a gamer on the LGBTQ plus, and it broke down some of the walls that you might have when you're dealing with. And she's not a reporter, and I don't think she was really a therapist in this. I don't. She was a researcher, so but she went in this with the idea that she was going to not find horrible people because these are her people. And
Sure.
instead, she found some of the most atrocious pieces of shit in the gaming community.
She said it was
Who,
worse than prison people. Worse than, she said she's interviewed people that are in prison, and these people were psychologically worse than prison actual felons.
yep. And that is strange, right? She's like, I sat on the phone with trolls, harassers, and their victims for hours, listened to weeping confessions, and sometimes traveled thousands of miles to see them in person. And to be frank, after 4 years of research and 60 hours of interviews with people who attacked fellow creators and fans over D&D and its cousins, it was all still so hard to grasp in any kind of holistic way or explain
Wow.
to friends. That's why she's saying that she wrote this. This is her way of getting it off her. So, and folks, listen, I know you got some great comments going on. Read each other's comments. I'm probably going to fall behind on them because, yes, as Don says, she went into this very one-sided. And when you come into something with certain expectations, and you shouldn't be, by the way, if you're doing a research project, you should be kind of neutral, right? I would think. But she didn't do neutral. She went for her comfort zone, and her comfort zone slammed her. Really did. So, and she talks about, the you know, how can I say it? How horrible these people are. And James Raggy was one of them, bragged about how they wanted to do away with Lamentations of the Flame Princess. They wanted James to go bankrupt. They wanted to then pick up the pieces. And why should James go bankrupt? You hear other people talk about how James and Zach treated people very well and very kindly, but why were they turned on? Well, because in this community that she's talking about, the only way to improve your position is to stand on somebody else. Stand on their body. You got to knock somebody down to move yourself up. Um, which is why.
Which, by the way, this was not new to anybody like us. We knew all this. This is maybe shocking to some people, but we've seen this since the G Plus days, right? Google Plus
Yeah.
days. It's people who were absolutely have no problem going against their friends if it means that they can stand on top of their body and get a little taller.
All right. This is all about positioning, and honestly, listen. I mentioned it before. James Raggy will have an amazing video. If it isn't out already, when James's video comes out, you're going to see me share it on social media because I've read what James has written for it. It is spot on. I don't want to steal any of his thunder because it is awesome and amazing. But James points out too the way that these people aren't about gaming. Okay, this isn't about gaming. Gaming is secondary. The hobby is secondary. This is all a means to an end, and it's about power and it's about politics. And I think in the case of, and it's a redemption arc. By the way, if you read this article, and you should, I will link it. Actually, I'll put it's an archived article at Archive. You should read it. Because you need to know about these people. And some of these people, I'm not going to dead name anybody, but some of these people were under different names when they were on G Plus, and I didn't even realize that. I'm wondering who's this person, and when somebody said, "Oh, that's actually," I was like, "Holy shit!" I mean, the person that still has like $40,000 in outstanding Kickstarter that they just walked away from, but they're still creating and they're still taking money from people. A change in identity, a name change doesn't exonerate you from your past. These are these are the same people that have attacked companies, have attacked people like me, James, Zach, James Desborough. Hell, even you can even throw Wenger and the pundit into it, Mike Merles. They all, because these are people that they cannot control. They couldn't control Zach, right? You're not going to control Zach. You're not going to control James Raggy. And when you can't be controlled, you're a danger. You're a danger. It blows my mind. It really does. Yeah, it's a power grab. It's the same as actors in Hollywood stabbing each other in the back. I have questions as to, and I know James Desborough, Grim Jim has discussed this too. I have questions as to the methods that were used in this article in gaining these interviews, because it does sound like people felt that they were talking confidentially and weren't going to be named, but then they get named. Listen to the interviews. People are bragging about their misdeeds. One person even states, when it comes to Zach, well, it's like, you had accusations that Zach threatened your kids. Oh, yeah, well, that never happened. They justify everything that they do based upon the target of what they're doing it at.
Sure.
If the target is a legitimate target, you can lie about them. The target is a legitimate target. You can attack them.
It's
And what
considered,
makes
yeah,
you
it's fine to do that because you're basically doing the world a favor at this point.
climbing the mountain? The rumor now is that Cleo is terminally ill, and that's why there's some weirdness with how it was put
Well,
out.
unless you can we prove this? If not, this is just a weird rumor. So
I heard that rumor too. Somebody said this at the beginning of the article. Um, I missed that. Um, but cancer and a few other things that have happened to me have combined to make me say fuck it. It doesn't mean that she's terminal. All
yeah,
right. It means maybe though that she's saying, you know, hey, well, there's more important things, and this maybe needs to be out there. It doesn't say she doesn't call herself terminal. Remember, I'm a cancer survivor. She just recently had 22 sessions of radiation or something like that for breast cancer and had a
right.
tumor removed. So this is there's she doesn't say what kind of cancer. So I'm not reading into that other than to say you're diagnosed with cancer, things become very real. All right, things become what's my legacy going to be? Because you do think about death. Doesn't mean that you're terminal, but you think about death because at the end of every cancer, there's a possibility. You're a gamer, right? You know the odds. I remember, hearing the odds for Rage. I was like, all right, 2% if we do X, Y, and Z. But if we only do X and Y, it's 5% chance of recurrence. And if we only do remove the tumor, it's a 15% chance. I'm a gamer. I want to make sure the odds are in my favor, right? We all do.
Yeah.
So, but again, we don't know the motivation for this. However, has been pointed out by others, there's a change in the voice of this article when you read it. Mike, do you remember where the voice changes in this article?
Yeah, it's so like I said, you're going. First of all, I'm sorry. I just I was really shocked to see her start banging on people that I knew were miserable human beings, but it's never actually been pointed out by anybody because they're scared of these people that they're miserable human beings. And so she started pointing them out, and I'm like, okay, this is kind of interesting. And then when she hit the point where she said, "Oh, and I talked to somebody that is probably the most sinned against person in the whole industry and has had the most terrible things happen to him, and I just can't believe they've had all these awful things." And then I was just like, "Oh, we're going to take a turn that way," because that was a surprise ending. That the butler isn't really the person who did it; it's the narrator of the story, and he's tricked you all this time. And so yes, she started halfway through the article. She decides that she's going to white knight Zach Smith,
Right.
which
And
was shocking because she states she had no idea who Zach Smith was, had never heard of him, didn't know anything about him, but after talking to him, she realizes that he got a bad deal.
and listen, I'll be honest with you. Zach got a bad deal.
He did get a bad deal
Zach
because
Zach got fucked.
absolutely.
However, oh wow, I wish I could remember the exact quote from
See,
Dan.
Zach thinks all we do on the show is beat up on him, and that's just bullshit.
No.
Because we absolutely think he did get screwed. He got a
Yeah.
terrible deal because he got Me Too'd, and
He
when
was
the
never
case was
convicted
laid
of a
out,
crime.
there wasn't a lot of evidence.
No,
But
there were never criminal charges filed. There was
but
never a crime
his
committed.
reputation was such that in the industry, his so-called friends had no problem turning on him. The
Right.
Stacy Delafanos, all these people that love Zach had no problem turning on him at the flip of a coin and
Hmm.
saying, "Oh yeah, yeah, you're right. Yeah, now that I think about it, yeah, he is a piece of garbage." That's so. It's just shocking that all of a sudden she's like, "Yeah, I've never heard of this guy," and boy, he really got a raw deal. And so she goes into this in depth um,
Oh, but
examination of how he got screwed and out of how he got basically booted out of the industry, how he got
and
completely
about how
booted out of
he
the
has
industry.
his own, and which blows this part that blew my mind. He has his own rules that you have to follow to interact with him in his social media, and these rules are perfectly fine, by the way. Doesn't mention that Zach likes to delete comments and threads when he feels
She
he's
did
not
never
at
mention. Yeah,
disadvantage.
she never mentioned that. That's kind of his mo. And
You
we,
know,
by the way, we
I
saw that last year on one of our discussions
yeah,
after a video. He absolutely deleted all his comments there.
I still got
And
screenshots.
by the way, Eric and I at this point are so cynical. We take screenshots of everything.
Yes.
So yeah,
So
we got
and all I
screenshots.
asked Zach was, you know what? You're allowed to comment on my videos, but and by the way, he could comment, but I couldn't reply to his comments. Why? Because he blocked me.
He has you blocked.
So I couldn't directly reply. And I said to him, "Are you going to unblock me so we can have an actual conversation?" And then he deleted his shit
He
because
just never really answered you. Yeah, true.
no.
So yeah, we had to block Zach after that, or you had to block Zach. But I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, it's just amazing. So anyway,
Oh yeah.
then the article takes this whole turn where
Here's the
she
quote,
go,
by the way, on the
she goes
screen.
in depth.
His name is Zach Smith, and he's the only person I will quote here who, after 4 years of research, I have not been able to find harassing anyone. She didn't.
Okay,
You know what? You didn't look very fucking hard, lady. You certainly didn't.
you know that's the thing is, a lot of these people see what they want to see, right? So okay, whatever. But the case she makes is pretty interesting because she does go step by step into how Zach was basically de-Zachized, where he was just
Yeah.
basically depersoned, and it was like, okay, all this took was this one accusation from his ex-girlfriend, I can't remember, ex-girlfriend,
I'm gonna say common law. I don't know if they were
common law,
married,
yeah.
but they were
All
they
it
were
took was
living
this,
in a married or
yeah.
basically a married type
So all it took
situation.
was this one accusation with really no evidence to back it up, and boom, he is persona non grata in the gaming industry in every way, shape, or form, to the point where stuff he like his thank you to Zach Smith in the player's handbook was removed. I
Yep.
mean, he was absolutely whitewashed out of the gaming. James was forced to pretty much take all his stuff off of, even though some of the stuff like Red and Pleasant Land were bestsellers still.
Yeah.
That stuff sells
And
really good.
And Rent Pleasant Land is awesome.
It is.
And
It's
by the
very
way,
good.
I'm climbing a mountain. He's like one of the most demeaning people I've ever interacted with online. It's actually a very rare ability. It takes him like 2 sentences. Listen,
He's your
fuck,
best friend if you agree with him, though. I have
oh
talked to
yeah,
him a lot. I have never had a bad interaction with him. I'll say that. Well, until he appeared on Eric's question and answer thing afterwards, and he very obliquely said he would like to sue me, but it was couched in a real obscure kind of way where well, people that say that kind of thing about me and don't apologize usually get sued, type of thing. But if you agree with him, he's a perfectly wonderful person to deal with.
so
He's a great guy to deal with.
so Mike, the and I'm going to call it out for what it is. Uh the left, the progressives, not just the progressives, the extreme progressives, the rainbow OSR people.
Right.
What is the claim they have about me and relationship to Zach? Do you remember? Because
Why do they think you and him are buddies? I never get
I am
that.
a Zach, I am a Zach apologist. I am a Zach because I say Rent Pleasant Land is probably one of the best RPG products ever. One of the best, top
Well, it's
five.
because you don't think that everything he touches is rancid and disgusting,
Right.
and he has no talent. I
I
mean,
still think
you and
he's a
him don't get
shitty
along.
person.
Look.
Yeah.
I followed the whole after comment thing when he commented on your video and wouldn't answer your questions or basically and yeah, you and him are not friends. There's not
No.
one way
But
anybody with a brain would think you guys are
But
buddies.
I refuse to call him a criminal because he isn't. I refuse to call him an offender because he isn't. Therefore, I'm an apologist for him, and I'm an ally. Again, this is up is down, left is right. They make up their own rules. And Greg, Zach blocked me when I responded to his claim that GMing was too sacred to be done for money by pointing out that he had sex for money.
Oh, you proved him wrong on something. That's a huge no no. And so he probably went back and deleted everything that you said after that. Yeah, that's his mo. But yeah, this whole paper that she wrote turned into this gigantic examination of how Zach got railroaded and this defense of his actions.
Yes.
And it's wild, man. It's just wild to read because look, most of us here we know we at least know who the guy is. I just got the feeling that maybe she was dealing with an unreliable narrator, and so maybe she got caught up in things she doesn't really know about. I don't know. It sounded like she was being very sincere. So I don't know if this is a setup or a put on or whatever, but it seemed like she really believed what she was saying. So I don't know. I don't know.
RPG Grandma, thank you. You're fair and honest as well as rational versus a mob lynch dirt thrower. That's the problem the Sparkle mob has with you.
Mm.
Tenkar, thank you. No, how did Grim Jim put it on his video earlier this week? Eric Tenkar has been covering this too, and he has been pathologically neutral as usual.
Well,
So,
anyway,
you.
so this is it's very long, but it's well worth reading because for number one, she outs a lot of people, and the video stuff the audio
The
is
audio. Oh my god.
insane, absolutely insane. That these people allowed themselves to get recorded saying the things they did is pretty out there and pretty weird.
So now, here I'm going to put this in perspective for you. There were people right from the start going, once the audio went up. Oh, the audio went up. That's all AI. The audio is all faked. Well, Olivia Hill, who was known under a prior name back in the G Plus days, but Olivia Hill went on Twitter and said, essentially, well, these interviews were private. She did this across state lines. She violated federal law. By the way, in like 40
Isn't almost
states,
every
you can
state
do
a
it.
two? Almost every state's a one-person state now, right? I mean, there's
Well,
very
about
few.
40 of them. I
Yeah, there's very
actually
few
found the
two
list. I
Yeah.
pinned it to the audio
Mhm.
episode on this channel.
What,
So
what
you
what
can
this
go
means,
check
kids, is you
yourself.
don't have to tell if it's not a two-person, whatever state, you don't have to tell the person you're recording at all. And you could absolutely record in secret or not. But these weren't in secret. She says right up
No,
front she's recording.
I'm
So
recording.
these
Well,
weren't. So that's just bullshit. That's a bullshit claim anyway.
right. Well, here's the thing, and this is my belief. This is my take. If your take is different, so be it. You're as likely to be as right as I am. But my take on this is these people, and I'm going to call them these people, thought that they were bragging to one of their kind.
Sure.
She's like us. She'll understand. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We changed the rules in the OSR Discord to allow lying, so you could lie about basically so you could lie about Zach. We took that rule out for a reason. Before you couldn't do lies. Listen, the same groups have a. You can't. You got to be nice and polite when talking about people, unless the people are like myself, Wenger, Alex Macros, Zach, others, and then it's like, oh no, well then you can say they're a Yahtzee, you can say whatever you want to say about them because that's okay. You can lie, you can because they are the uncontrollable ones. You're not going to control Zach. You're not going to control James Desborough. You're not going to control James Raggy. All right, I believe Raggy would rather burn his business to the ground than kowtow to a bunch of fucktards. There's many of us feel that way, and that scares them. That's why Zach was something they could not control. They felt Zach was controlling them. That's my opinion. And once they were like, "Oh, we can get rid of him," because he was a wild card.
Mm-hmm.
Zach worried about himself. He wasn't worried about these people, and they were happy to get rid of him when the opportunity was there.
Even
is
his
such a
so-called
shame.
friends, people that supposedly, you know, I mean, he had some people that defended him, for years and years would always defend him, and yet they turned on him with just absolutely within 24 hours for like, oh yeah, he's always been a piece of shit. And you're like, whoa, what happened? You used to love this guy, So I
Yep.
don't know what the. To me, it sounds like a lot of people were just his friend out of necessity, out of maybe fear. Maybe they were scared that he would say bad things because there was always the accusations that he had followers that would dogpile people,
Well, yeah.
and,
Well,
and
they were
so
people that were like, Zach offered them work. Zach, and he still turned on him. They'd say, well, you can't call him anti-trans because you did this, this, and this, but you still turned on him, right?
yeah, I
Because
mean, people turn them so quickly. There was a lot going on there below the surface that we must have never known about because you don't turn on people that quick, and people, Zach's so-called friends turn on him so quickly over, as we said, were seem to be baseless accusations because they've never been proven in a court of law, nor a lot. And he has lots of affidavits to back up people that say they're absolutely made up. I mean, he found people that lived with him and Mandy and that knew other.
yeah,
I mean, that just say, yeah, this never happened or that never happened and this didn't happen. So, where's the look? Where's the truth on this? I know Eric and I don't know. It's probably in the middle somewhere. I don't know. I am going to say that I have no clue. And it doesn't matter to me, and it's not important to me. But that being what it is, it's still amazing these people would turn on him so quickly. Their so-called friends so
and
quickly.
it's so amazing to me that they would actually allow themselves to be recorded and identified for this shit. Again,
That's pretty shocking. Yes.
these fucking morons. And I'm insulting morons when I say that, but these idiots. You don't talk to a reporter. You don't, but they didn't think they were. They thought they were talking to a friend. And then if you read like the David Hill emails, she presents herself as a friend. Sorry, Olivia.
Yeah.
But she presents herself as a friend and talking about that connection. Again, she targeted a certain segment of the community who, in this case, just happened to be a bunch of toxic individuals, and she wasn't expecting that. She was expecting to find, oh, they all had valid reasons for how they acted, not,
Sure.
oh, we made shit up because we could. Climbing that mountain, don't know. I had one person tell me that there was something being said.
They're not going to. I'm going to make a prediction. They'll never talk. They're not going to talk about this. It's inconvenient. They're not going to talk about this.
Yeah.
I just my prediction. I could be if I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong because I don't really go there that much to see it. But I doubt this will be.
If they talk about it, they're gonna be like, Tenkar's telling lies again.
Boy, you'll get thrown under the bus at some point, sure. But
Yeah,
this is not. This is a very. How do they put that? This is an inconvenient truth. So they're not going to cover inconvenient truths here.
No.
Look! If Doctor Cleo had done an expose on Nazi straight white old gamers who wear swastikas, do this, that, oh, it would be all over pages like that, all over. You'd see endless quotes from people. But the fact that it's, as Eric said, their own kind, it's going to be inconveniently, very conveniently.
It's the inconvenient truth, so we'll leave it in. We'll leave it conveniently to the side.
Yes.
Don't discuss it. Put your blinders on, cover your ears, and shut your mouth. We got a Gillespie in the house, by the way. Gillespie.
Oh yeah, hey Greg.
Sorry, Greg. Dallas is no longer.
Oh, don't bring this up. We're all Rangers fans here now, Eric. Stop! Don't bring up the cry boys. Don't want to hear about it. We're all Rangers fans for the next 6 months here, on Talking Crit. So
yeah.
I'm sorry.
What?
World champion Texas Rangers. I forgot to add that part there.
The Yankees can't even add up their world championships. It's like I need fingers, toes, and a few other body parts to count them.
I never thought I'd see a day in my life where the Rangers have won a championship, and it's been how many years since the Yankees have won now?
Oh God, I don't know, 20,
I mean,
something
that's
like
shocking because they used to win. Look, when I was growing up, they won every 2 years, 3 years, through the 70s and early. And then they went that long stretch, remember that long stretch? And then
that.
the 90s, boom, they came
Well,
back. They had all
the
the.
early 2000s,
Uh,
I worked a few of those games
yeah.
as a cop when they
But
clinched when they in 2001 when they clinched
they
against the
have
Mariners.
had
I was on the
some.
field.
They've had some issues the last few years. And I never thought the Rangers would be going to the World Series without having to go through the Yankees. The Yankees didn't even make the playoffs this year. That's
Yeah,
just shocking.
yeah.
They're, I don't get it. I don't know. No more sports ball. Sorry, no more sports ball.
Sorry, man. Sorry. Uh, so S. Lewis, some of these people have been around for close to 2 decades. Yeah, I mean, again, I recognize some of those names from the G Plus days, and then for some reason, and they didn't transfer over to any communities I was part of on Facebook or
Right.
MeWe. I guess I did a better job at keeping my social media under control.
I forget MeWe until you bring up MeWe. I always forget it. And I'm like, oh
Some of
yeah,
them
I
are
forgot about me.
Forge and Story Games alumni. They've been in
Oh
the
dear.
hobby for nearly half its lifetime. Optional rule: I don't see any of this that makes a difference. There are three groups: people who already know woke mobs go after people in a woke mob, and people who haven't heard of it. Nobody has changed. Well, you know,
But by the way, I've done a little research just on the side while you're talking. It didn't
yep,
take me long. Last World Series by the Yankees, 2009.
okay.
That was the first. That was the year that. This is how long ago it's been. That was the year we started North Texas RPG Con. That's shocking, Eric. That is wow. They need to.
Wow.
You know what? Steinbrenner needs to sell the team, or
You know what?
whatever
Oh,
Steinbrenner relative has the team now.
2009. So when I stayed, right when Rach and I met, that's my return to gaming too in 2009. There we go.
That's mind-boggling. I'm telling you, as a baseball fan growing up, those guys were in it every year, and wow, that's pretty wild. That
You
is
know,
that is crazy.
but and by the way, I'm gonna just throw something out there. It's 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 not the woke that is the issue. It is the extremists within the woke. I know people who consider themselves woke, and I can have a conversation with them, and it doesn't, and not everything becomes politics. But for the people that politics and social issues is part of every aspect of their life, these are the people, and I've said this before. Back in the G Plus days, I'm not going to name the person because they're like Candyman. They hear they were named and they get all upset. But this person told me that I misused my influence. I abused it by not using it properly. I'm like, what are you talking about? By not using my influence in the community, my authority
Yes.
for the right causes, I was misusing it. I was essentially committing a major sin. And I was like, well, what are you talking about? Whoa, you've got to use it for social issues. You have to use it for. I go, no, I don't. I use it for gaming. My influence is in the gaming industry, and I use it for gaming, old school gaming. The reason why I have the influence that I have, the authority that I have, is because I keep it within that aspect. And once I said that, then I was on a list.
And look, this is when we say stuff like we don't like politics in game. This is what we mean. We don't. I mean, look, a lot of things are political that shouldn't be political, but you should be able to. It shouldn't matter. And I always put it this way: if you go to a convention and you want to play, let's say, chariot racing, does it really matter if the guy who's got a chariot in the game, does it matter who he voted for? What world does that matter who that guy on the other side of the table who's running another chariot voted for? How does that come into play in your chariot game? You're playing a dice game where you're running chariots around the table. Why should it matter who that guy voted for, what his opinion is? What his opinion is on really anything except steering that chariot around the board. And that's what we mean when we say no politics in gaming, is that it shouldn't matter when you're sitting down to play a game.
Right.
It shouldn't matter.
I go to a convention. I don't have a litmus test, and people have asked about this. I need to know how my GM voted in the last
We were
presidential
asked,
election.
yes, North
Mike has
Texas
talked about this.
North Texas when Doug was still alive, we were floated the idea by well-meaning people that GMs should have to wear a blue or red sticker indicating which way they voted in the election, which blew our minds. Absolutely, and the people asking this were not joking. They
Right.
were absolutely serious. That they, because in their words, they could not enjoy a game knowing that their GM voted for somebody different than they did. That's what we say when we say no politics in gaming. That's the kind of stuff that we just consider unnecessary. Is that it just doesn't? It shouldn't be important to how your enjoyment of the game.
Optional rule: which color is libertarian? Probably
Ooh, that's a
purple.
tough one.
Purple.
I
Purple.
I voted Green Party one year. Would I have to wear a green sticker? I guess, and then they go, "What is green? Green Party? How dare you, sir?"
Listen,
So
I'm in New York State, so my vote is irrelevant. So I almost always vote third party.
mine kind of is too. Yeah, I
I
follow.
vote
That's
third party because I'm hoping that a third party will get enough votes nationwide to actually get federal funding in the next presidential election. That's how I look at it. So I haven't I have and when I was younger, I was voting. I always voted for the loser anyway. So I haven't picked a winner. If you want to know who's going to lose the election,
whoever you're voting
throw me
for.
in. Yeah, just say who'd you vote for? But the last couple of years, it has been libertarian, and I think before that it might have been the Green Party one year, whichever Ralph Nader was part of. You
Oh
know,
yeah, that was night to the very famous 2000 election. Yes.
yeah. So
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
yes,
That was a
break the system, and that to me isn't political. That is pure political neutrality. I want to give more influence to the average voter as opposed to having these voting blocks. But that we don't discuss it at my gaming table, And I'll be like, "Hey, do you believe in third party? Third party. We're playing in a party here, right? This the part. Are we splitting the party into two parties? Why are you talking about a third party? No, 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 no,
uh,
no. Before we sit down and actually game, I need to know if you believe in a third party for presidential elections. I don't care. You know, when I talk about it, the biggest political talk you will hear from me is get out and vote. I
yeah.
will tell you to get out and vote. If you don't
Eh,
vote,
eh,
you can't
Look,
complain.
I tell people this all the time. One of the most important elections you're ever voting in is a local election. That's because I have seen with my own eyes elections won or lost by a handful of votes. We're talking 4 or 5 votes, and and your local elections are going to have much more
Yep.
influence on your life now than any kind of national election are. So you definitely need to go out. You need to find out who your local candidates are, and you need to vote for somebody because, believe me, when it comes to local taxes, local projects, I mean, all these things that affect your life directly, that's going to have a direct effect on your life. That's the kind of thing you definitely need to get involved in. I've seen elections, Eric. I've seen elections won by one vote, which
I
is
believe it.
crazy to me. Where they've done recount after recount after recount, especially some of the small counties in Texas or small cities,
All right.
and it literally came down to one vote, and somebody won over one vote. So, yes, if you're not going to vote national, please get in there and vote locally.
Yep. So, and by the way, folks, this came out at the beginning of an election year.
Oh boy.
Imagine what's going to leak out between now and then, only because
Oh no.
it's this is I think the tip of the iceberg. We're going to be and the fact that she did this, I suspect, is more coming either from her or from somebody else who may again. There's rumors that she didn't write all this, that she took it down because somebody else hit the publish button. I don't know if anybody has spoken to her. Um, I would be happy to talk with a good doctor, or she'd rather talk to another social worker. She could talk to my wife, but I'd love to. I would love to know why it was up and then down as quickly as it was.
Hmm.
So, well, Mike, I think that we hit the witching hour.
We may have come. Yes, we're very close to witching. We did basically hit the witching hour. And we covered all the three main stories we wanted to cover. And
Yeah.
so where one more. I just want to ask one last question about the Cleo story. So, where is this going, if anywhere, in your opinion? I mean, is this going to move the needle any which way,
Well,
shape, or form anywhere, or is it this going to get buried, or
oh, it's
just
it's
nobody
it's
cared?
oh, people care. I can tell you, I can tell that people care because the number of comments going on, the conversations going on my videos, the conversations going on Grim Jim's videos on this are are beyond what I usually expect. Okay, it's a very engaged community, and here's something I'm very surprised by. Now you all don't get to see the ratio, but I get to see the ratio of likes to dislikes. And
Hmm.
when there's only one or two dislikes on a video, and there's 100 plus likes, I am truly shocked. Because usually what happens is I talk about a topic like this, and it gets a minor brigade of people who are upset, and they come running out to shut it down or give negative feedback. It's not happening. Now it could be that because this is not being covered on Enworld, this is not being covered on
No.
Reddit, it's not being covered in RPG.net,
Oh
Big
dear,
Purple.
you mentioned it.
Why isn't it being covered there? Because that's where these people hang out, and they have anti don't talk about Zach policies, and even if it's stuff that you would think would be relevant, regardless of Zach, they're not talking about it. So
Hmm.
that's why you're going to have people like Jim, people like me, I'm sure the pundit, um, talking about this. I'm going to be covering more of the audio. I'm going to be covering a bit more of the article because this needs to be discussed and it can't be memory hold. Because when it gets memory hold, you give power to people like you see in this article and allow them undue influence on gaming uh, overall. All right, like Mike said, we like to keep our politics out of gaming. This is all about when you put politics into gaming, you're justified, right? You're justified in lying about people because there's a political goal, a power goal, and we are we are not about that. We certainly are not.
Hmm.
So, S. Lewis, thank you. We thought it was a pretty good stream. Um, Independent journalism. Listen, I got to give a huge thank you to a number of individuals who I'm not going to name. I don't know if they want to be named. But when this story broke, I had people on their own initiative giving me background information on the doctor, not stalking stuff, but proving that she was a legit person because there were initial thoughts that she was a sock puppet. She
Hmm.
didn't exist. Now, my wife herself looked up Cleo's credentials, which was great, but we got to see that she was a real person with a real history. So it makes this story legit. It doesn't, but I'm going to tell you again. Read it yourself. Don't let talking heads. Don't let pundits or investigative journalists or whatever you want to call me, the vlogger, or
Yeah.
do your own. This whole bullshit of don't do your own research. Don't question science. Question everything. You got to question these articles because even if the article is using evidence, there might also be bias to it.
Sure.
All right, so you
Look,
can take the evidence and still look at the bias.
all these Ken Burns video. Ken Burns does some great documentaries, but if you read some criticism of him over the decades, it's been that, well, he's telling his own version of the story, which is absolutely true of any documentary. They are never right down the middle. We're just gonna let it lie.
Right.
Documentarians have a story to tell too, and they are going to use what they find to tell that story. So never watch a documentary and think, oh, well, this must be the absolute truth, because documentary guys, they're never going to bias the story. Absolutely, they will. Absolutely, they will change the story up to make it more dramatic or more interesting, or or covers things they didn't think they were going to cover to begin with, and they change the whole focus of it. So it's like anything else. Like Eric says, do your own research and make sure that you're getting the whole story, not just a piece of the story.
Yes, I'm going to put the link to the archive of this. Now, somebody the other day said, actually yesterday, said, "Hey, oh, this is back up online." The original, it wasn't. All right.
Oh,
If you go to the Medium website, uh, the doctor has a page there, and it says no post yet. So, say what you will. Uh, Again, we don't know why she took it down. There's a lot of theories as to why. I'm not going to go into them. You can draw your own conclusions. But the fact is, it was up, and on the internet never forgets. And I don't know who initially grabbed all the audio, but whoever did,
bless
God
you.
bless you.
Yeah, you're doing the Lord's work there, because this would have been memory hold so quick that you wouldn't be able to see it. It's like the flash on speed. Yes,
Ah, okay.
they
So
would
F.
let this
Lewis,
absolutely memory hold.
somebody reposted the article on another Medium account. All right.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Well, I'd rather go from the archive because it wasn't the doctor republishing it. I'm guessing.
Yes.
So, but like I said, well, I'm going to continue covering this because if people like me and Grim stop covering this, these assholes, these people that wanted to control your community, your universe of gaming, they wanted to be the ones that were in the power spot. They're not going to go away, and you need to know they're out there, and you need to know who they are, and you need to know the tactics that they use, and the tactics they use is essentially lying about people, or well, I like the one interview. It's like, well, I shouldn't have to check facts. It should be enough that
Mm.
somebody says it. It's not on me to check facts. Check your facts, folks.
Yeah.
Check your facts. So,
Yeah,
other than
man.
that,
Fact
Mike,
check.
yeah, sound check, fact check.
And,
One,
and
two,
try not to
three.
get sued by people too. Try
Oh,
try
sure.
to try not to get sued by people.
I'd like to try
It
that. Can
sucks.
I? Can I?
It
Yeah,
really sucks.
it does. But I take a lot of amusement out of mine. I got to say that.
Mm. Well, sometimes you say the right things, you still get sued. So that,
Yeah,
and you absolutely can back up what you're saying, and you'll still get sued. So it sucks. What can you say?
it certainly does. So, folks, the next live stream. Wait, is there another one? Oh, wait,
What
yeah,
about
first
Friday? What's happening
Friday.
Friday?
It should be Glenn Hallstrom and
Oh,
myself.
my buddy Glenn. Yes.
Yes, the Triple D podcast, Dungeons, Dragons, and Discourse, and Saturday
Yes.
night 8 p.m. Gamers Health. Don't know what we're going to discuss just yet. It should be a fun time. Should be an interesting time. But last week's episode, we started delving into this article, and
Oh.
well, you got a social worker's perspective on it, which was interesting. So, I don't know what we'll do this week though. It doesn't matter. We always have fun. All right,
We'll
folks.
try to.
Well,
We're, oh, I'm about to say. I was going to say we're going to try to dig up some special guests for us. We have a few
yeah.
possibilities, but nobody that I'm willing to go on record saying yet. So
No, nobody can fly
we'll
in.
see. We'll let you know when we know.
Live. Yeah. I can think of two or three names that Mike has on that list, but none of them
Mm.
have confirmed. So it's
Hmm.
a little wishy washy.
Yeah.
It's a little. The
Yeah.
list is a little flaccid, Mike. The list is a little
Jen
flaccid.
Glazer won't return my phone calls, so I haven't been able
Oh well.
I hadn't been able to nail her appearance down. Sorry.
All right, folks. Well, huge thank you to everybody in the live stream. The audience was great. You guys
Yes.
were
Thank
busy.
you so much.
Your input was awesome. I will, once this video is no longer live, I will put the link to the article in the at the pinned comment. But again, read it. Read it. And if you want to hear the audio, you can either go to Grimm's channel or you can go this very channel. I with Jim's permission, I put up a copy of it because if it gets taken down on his end, we have another copy of it. So be safe, be well, God bless. Roll the dice, roll them well. I'll be back again tomorrow with some random crap or more of this stuff. I don't know. All right, folks. God bless.
Later.